Hey, for all the authors that are listening out there, I wanted to share with you this great email that we received here at the Reading with Your Kids podcast from Dr. Linda Mubarak. She is a past guest and the author of Maxine's New Job. Here's the email. Dear Fatima and Jay, good news! Maxine's New Job has been nominated to receive the prestigious Henri Award at the 2018 Christian Literacy Awards for Outstanding Literacy Work in the Children's Book Division. I sincerely believe your certifying Maxine as a great read helped bring increased social media attention to the book. Thank you for the exposure and the great marketing. We are so happy for Dr. Linda Mubarak that her book, Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read, Maxine's New Job, received this prestigious recognition. We would love to help your book receive that same kind of recognition. If you are interested in having your book considered for our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program, please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can click on the contact button, send us a note, and we'll send all the information back to you, or you can go right to our Certified Great Read page on our website. It's fun, it's easy, and it is really an effective way to let the world know that your book stands out above all the rest. The Reading with the Kids Certified Great Read program.
Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. We hope that you and your family are well and enjoying each other's company. We have a wonderful guest for you today. Her name is Saira Mir, and she is the author of Muslim Girls Rise. Joining us right now from right outside of Washington, D.C., she is the author of a very important new picture book. Her debut picture book is called Muslim Girls Rise. Please welcome to the show, Saira Mir. Saira, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I should probably call you Dr. Saira because you are a physician in addition to being a debut children's book author.
Yeah, definitely in the context of children's book. I just tell everyone to call me Saira, but you're welcome to call me whatever you feel comfortable.
Well, I'm excited to learn more about Muslim Girls Rise. Please tell us all about this book.
Yeah, so it is a compilation of biographies of modern-day Muslim women that really break barriers and stereotypes and really show the breadth of what being Muslim can mean. So they come from across the world. There are a lot of narratives from North America, because these are women that I've personally looked up to and have been my heroes. And the idea for this book was actually born out of me sharing these stories with my daughter when she was only 5. And she was just so floored by some of these amazing women that I thought it'd be really cool to put them all together and kind of showcase the diversity and the strengths of women and, from different backgrounds.
I love that this book rose out of kind of like an oral tradition. You were sitting down and sharing these stories with your daughter.
Yeah.
What a beautiful beginning.
Yeah, it really was. And I think it even highlights the fact that as a grown up, I didn't have these role models growing up. I really needed them in my teens and my adult years that they impact me as a grown up, and their stories are equally inspiring to young children. So I think that really speaks to, what an impact they make across generations.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about the, why you think there's a need for this. But first, I want to get to know some of the women that we're going to meet in Muslim Girls Rise.
Absolutely. So we have athletes. So Ibtihaj Muhammad, who is a medalist Olympian on the U.S. team, who's very prominent. And there's some more, lesser known names that are equally exciting, like a fashion designer who's designed women's clothing lines for Uniqlo. And a judge from Iran who won a Nobel Peace Prize but was silenced by her own country. So really, women who have perseverance and tenacity and overcome like small and large hurdles. So they're just really exciting. I think the the breadth of the women's experience, engineers, mathematicians, teachers, is really great because everyone can relate to someone on a personal level out of this book.
Mm-hmm. And you said one of the women was a designer for Uniqlo?
Yeah. I think she's done either her second or her third season now of, it's mostly modest wear, but she wants to design clothes for everyone to feel good. So she has that kind of global approach to what fashion can mean to a woman, which I think is really inspiring.
Yeah, well, that grabbed my ear because my son worked for Uniqlo for a number of years.
No way.
Yeah, and it really kind of blew me away because this football player, wrestler, and he was working there for a couple months, and all of a sudden he's coming home and he knows something about fashion, and he's talking about hemlines, and he's sewing, and I'm like, who are you? Where did
It really can bring people together. I think the arts and education and sports, so many things that these women do are really unifying, threads throughout the world. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think it is wonderful for young girls to see other women who are succeeding in all different fields of life. I think that's, great inspiration for them.
Absolutely. And I've had people approach me like, are you going to do a boys version? And I try to tell them like, well, this is equally important for everyone, for boys, for girls, for grown-ups, for people of Muslim faith, of different backgrounds, because it's really about, highlighting and centering stories that you don't hear about in the mainstream. And I think that's what's so important about this book.
Yeah. And I love what you said, that this is not just a book for girls, but it's also a book for boys and for men. And I think
especially men, like, let the women shine a little bit. It's okay,
Oh, absolutely. Because when we talk, we talked a lot about own voices here and how important it is for kids to see themselves represented in the pages of books. But I also think it's very, very important for kids to see others represented in the pages of books. And that's how we get to know each other, especially if we're in a community that is not as diverse as other communities. The Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area is a very diverse area, and there's parts of the country that aren't as diverse, and you don't get a chance to meet folks from different cultures, different countries, different religions. And, so a great way to do that is through books and sitting down and reading about them, reading about their accomplishments, reading about their cultures and what they're all about, helping dispel some myths. And so I think it's real important for everyone to sit down and meet some of these Muslim girls who are rising.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned that because I grew up in a very rural area in the South. My family was the only Muslim family for an hour radius. So it was a lovely community, but definitely I would have, loved to have a book like this growing up. So I think it's especially important for people, like you said, that don't have that mirror to look, at themselves and their own communities, and equally important for people who don't have that exposure to these stories. So, yeah.
When we sit down and we read Muslim Girls Rise, we'll obviously get to know some of these women and what they're doing and what they're accomplishing. Are we also going to learn about the faith? Are we going to learn about Islam?
I think you'll learn more about some of the contemporary challenges that people face that identify as Muslim and how these women have, faced them head on. So prejudice or backlash. So it's more about, fitting in as a global citizen and finding your own path more so than, what the faith or the tenets are. Because I definitely wanted to reach a larger audience.
Can you talk a little bit about the challenges that folks are facing?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is gender bias. So you'll hear a lot of similar stories along the line of people being in power that are male that really try to kind of silence women physically, vocally, through laws. And so a lot of these women kind of rise up against that. And find ways to succeed. There's an athlete who's based out of northern Pakistan, Maria Thurpakai, who loved to play squash. And while she was growing up, the laws of where she lived changed where girls could not participate in sports. So her reaction was to cut her hair, wear boys' clothes, and, was like a modern day Joan of Arc. Like went out there and played against the boys and she beat them. And eventually it came out that yes, she is a girl. She had to show her birth certificate for a competition and she faced a lot of criticism, a lot of pressure, but her, family supported her and she found a way to, continue to play sports. She's based out of Canada now and has a coach and is, very vocal about, girls being involved in sports and supporting their dreams. So, it's really about, perseverance to continue following your dreams. And she's one of my favorite stories out of the book for that reason, because it's just so remarkable.
That's wonderful. I oftentimes, think back to when I was a kid growing up in Boston, and the absolute best athlete, the best baseball player, the best football player, the best hockey player in our neighborhood was my cousin Darlene. She was amazing, and she was strong, and she was tough, and we just grew up playing with her, and we didn't think anything of it. It's just everybody got out and played. But when we would go to, when things started getting organized and we would go to different neighborhoods, people, typically adults, would flip out and say, no, you can't have a girl on your team. And we're like, what do you mean we can't have a girl on our team? And it's crazy. Now, that was back in the 60s, and it's sad, but it's true that women are still fighting the same fight that Darlene was fighting so long ago.
Absolutely. Not a whole lot has changed. And I think that, talking about Darlene, talking about Maria is a first step to really kind of highlight women who, who just do what feels right and don't let other people get in their way. So
I like that. I like do what's right and not letting other people get in their way.
Yeah, exactly. And the book actually has quotes from the women. I was able to connect with about half the women in the book. There's 19. And some of them provided, original quotes or gave me permission to use published quotes. And so Maria's is, and I love hers and I want to share it, is I want to tell girls fear is taught. You were born free and you were born brave. And that's just so powerful. It's really, it touches me every time I read it.
I love that. Fear is taught. It's powerful. And I think knowing that is freeing and can really help men and women free themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it can help people acknowledge when they have a bias, and it can also help people on the receiving end realize that there are options. So it's really powerful.
I'm wondering, when you were telling these stories to your daughter when she was 5 years old, did she have a favorite? Oh,
she loved, and she still does, a NASA engineer that launches rocket ships, because she's just so fascinated with space, and the idea that there's a woman who does this is just, thrilling to her. And so she is Hiba Rahmani. She's in the book as well.
Excellent. And what about you? Do you have a favorite? Has it changed? Has your view of, and I know it's kind of unfair to ask, but has your view of these people changed as you were writing the book?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the complexity of the human experience, how I really tried to highlight for each woman their childhood experience, and that's why I use the title Girls as who they were growing up, to kind of highlight to children that, what you experience and the challenges you face as a child it doesn't define the rest of your life. For a lot of these women, they had different trajectories as children. They had different interests, but they'd face a challenge and they'd, rise to the occasion. So I definitely learned that different aspect of these women. And so it makes me appreciate, obviously that we're not all, one-sided. My favorite is an easy answer because she's fictional. She's a Marvel character, Miss Marvel, from the comic books. And, she's a teenager and she has shape-shifting powers, and she was designed, by two Muslim women who are a team and just made her rise to the top. She's really popular in the Marvel universe. And, I think she just speaks to, what you can accomplish when you have a dream, that you can design your own superhero, which is just so cool.
That is pretty cool. And then going back to my son, he's a huge superhero comic book fan. And, yes, so he's introduced me to lots and lots of those characters. I'm wondering, Saira, has writing this book and getting to communicate with some of these women, has it changed you in any way?
I think it just inspires me even more to not feel constricted by, society's expectations of what you can do. I know as a physician, I've had a very linear path in terms of, how I got to where I got professionally, but remembering there's so much more that you can offer in addition to your traditional role. And I think that's really exciting.
That is exciting. I think a lot of people do, they get caught up in this, I'm a physician, I'm a magician, and they just kind of see themselves within that narrow framework.
Yes.
But yeah, it is important to understand that, it was hard work to become a physician, and that is the way I'm making my living, but I have a lot more to offer the world.
Exactly. And you can do more than one thing at one time and do them well. I think that's something we don't hear often. So that's what I definitely took out of this experience.
I'm wondering how important is it's obviously very important for you. I'm imagining for kids to dream. Talk a little bit about how important it is for you to think, how important you think it is for kids to have dreams and to have role models.
Oh, I think it's so critical. And I think it's important we never stop dreaming either, right? So we think that magical thinking and aspirations and the sense that you can do anything is restricted to childhood. I think that should just be throughout your life, and I think as we get older, that kind of gets beaten out of us a little bit with life experiences and feeling like we have to kind of choose one path and stick to it and, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. But really I think that you can just have these, comeback moments or, revelations throughout your life. And I think it has to be supported from childhood on and continue.
Absolutely. We talk so much about how much happier kids are when they have dreams. And I think that crosses over to adults too. Absolutely.
I think that's kind of the joy of being in the children's book world, is that you get to kind of enjoy that magical thinking through kids' eyes, but I don't think it has to end there.
Well, I'm wondering, you wrote Muslim Girls Rise as your debut picture book. Is it one and done for you, or do you have dreams of writing more picture books?
I definitely have dreams of writing more. I'll keep you posted. You'll be the first one to know any good news.
That's fantastic. Well, I know folks are going to want to know where they can connect with you and find out more, not only about Muslim Girls Rise, but more about Saira Mir. Where can we find you online?
I have a website, sairamir.com, and you can use the contact tab to send me a message. I also have an Instagram account, Saira Mir Books. Feel free to message me on there as well. I'm moderately active on social media, so email may be the best way to get in touch with me, through my website.
Well, you can be excused for being a little bit busy, being an author, physician, a mom. It kind of takes up your time.
It's fun. It's a fun balance. It's never always quite balanced, but work on it.
If there's a mom of a young guy out there listening and she's curious and you've piqued her attention, is there one woman in Muslim Girls Rise that you think guys would be real excited to get to know and to meet?
Oh, geez. That's a tough one. I haven't been asked that one before. There's so many in here. I honestly, I can't pick one. That's too hard of a question. I'm sorry. But I'll think about it. I'll let you know.
That's wonderful. Well, it's probably because there are so many fascinating women that are in there and would be of interest to all kids.
They really are. And their stories are just, they'll blow you away. They're so great.
Well, we're really excited about it. And I'm really, really happy that you had a chance to come in and talk to us about Muslim Girls Rise. It is the debut picture book by our guest, Saira Mir, Dr. Saira Mir. Saira, thank you so much for being on the show.
I enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. It's a really important episode of the podcast. Our guest will be Jen Melia. She is the author of Too Sticky, and this is an incredibly important book. It deals with the subject of sensory issues that many kids on the autism spectrum have to deal with. And this is an important book. We talk a lot about autism. Jen has been diagnosed as being on the spectrum, and her daughter also. They were diagnosed at the same time. It's a really wonderful look into this issue. And if you are not dealing with somebody directly in your family who is on the spectrum, you know somebody who is on the spectrum. 1 in 59 American kids are being diagnosed on the spectrum, and so it is a part of our lives, and it's important to understand what this is and how we can help our kids understand their classmates who are dealing with these issues, and also understand that everybody deserves our respect. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so very, very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guest, Saira Mir. Be sure to check out Muslim Girls Rise. I also want to thank my team, my amazing team, my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. Please be sure to check out her blogs. She's taken a break from her blog. She is on maternity leave, taking care of her beautiful new son. But you can check out her past blogs at readingwithyourkids.com. Also want to thank my author ambassador, Peggy Cotto. She is a person that can tell you all about our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. If you have questions about that, just go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Author Services button at the top of the page. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support that she gives me. I am so thankful I haven't annoyed her. We've been together now this whole time, and I haven't annoyed her too badly, and I'm really thankful for that. But most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very, very much for caring for your kids, for spending quality time with your kids. And you know, you're making the world a better place every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.